Is abortion biblical? Is it considered murder if the baby in the womb is not fully developed and kicking? Well, let's start here. There are some countries, including the country in which I live, which is Cyprus, where abortion is legal until the 12th week of pregnancy and up until the 19th week in cases of rape. So it's the 12th week and the 19th week. But let me tell you this, in the 3rd week of conception, the baby's organs are already starting to fully develop, including the heart and the brain. And so the baby has a heartbeat like you and I, a heartbeat at 5 weeks, and has electrical activity like you and I in the brain at 5 weeks. And so abortion that ends a life that has brain activity, a heartbeat, and organs is called murder. You would not need to kill the fetus if it was not alive. The fact that you need to kill it means it's alive. If it were not alive, you could just disregard it, forget it, ignore it, toss it to the side, and it would just vanish. But the fact that you need to kill it means it's already alive. And the Bible tells us in Exodus chapter 20, verse 13, God says, "You shall not murder." And so people justify murder by saying, yeah, but it's my body. This is where the problem is. It's not your body. If it were your body, you would be the one who died. But the baby died because it's the baby's body and not your body. And so there is a lot of irresponsible talk here and there. Others say, yes, well, I'm too young. Yes, well, I'm not ready. Yes, well, it's my body. Yes, well, this, that, or the other. And they justify murder with convenience and selfishness. It's okay because I'm financially broke and I can't afford a child. It's okay because it's a good idea because I'm still in school and I'm too young. And they begin to justify murder with convenience. And so what they're doing in essence is calling evil good and good evil. They're taking an evil thing and they are calling it good in the name of convenience. But the Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Woe to those who put darkness for light and light for darkness. Woe to those who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Most of the time, abortion is due to poor decision making. You see, in the past, in the olden days, historically, people would excuse it because of lack of education, lack of reliable contraceptives, and so on and so forth. But today, there is no space for such excuses, because that's what they were, excuses. There is no space for such excuses because we have multiple options today. We are more advanced intelligently today. We are more educated today. We have more education today. We have more options today, and I've made a list of some of them. We have more access to healthcare insurance to pay for contraceptives. We have the morning after pill, which is a pill that can be taken within 24 hours of having sexual intercourse, whether you know you're pregnant or not. 24 hours. There are condoms. There are contraceptive implants. There are contraceptive injections. There are contraceptive patches. There is a diaphragm. There is sex education to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Women can tell their partner to wear a condom, and women can wear the female condom because there is a male condom and a female condom, and both can be used together also. Women can choose to adopt their babies rather than kill their babies. If you remember in the Old Testament, Moses was adopted. He was adopted by the daughter of Pharaoh. Was it King Pharaoh? Which king was? I think it was Pharaoh. Moses was adopted. And he is one of the biggest names in the Old Testament today. Women can have a vasectomy. Women can have a tubal ligation, which is where you close the tubes if you don't want to get pregnant. And then if you do want to get pregnant, you go and reopen the tubes. You can close them and reopen them. Close them and reopen them. But women choose not to. They choose not to. Most abortions today are due to poor decision making, irresponsible people. They choose not to take precautions. And so there are many alternatives to preventing pregnancy. Why choose murder? Abortion is not an option. Murder is not an option. People are just pure irresponsible. The Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 18 verse 10, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, babies. For I tell you that their angels in heaven, because all babies have angels, their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. And so many people just take this being, it's alive, and just dispose of it. Just dispose of it. Oh, it's not a baby yet. Oh, it's not. It's just a cluster of cells. Well, I'm a cluster of cells as well. Are you going to dispose of me too? Just as I have brain activity, so does the baby in the womb. Just as I have a heartbeat, just as I have my organs, so does the baby in the womb. Some babies are fully formed when they get aborted. Some babies get aborted 1 day before being delivered. Some babies are not fully formed, but the heartbeat is still there. The brain activity is still there. The organs are still there. The baby is still moving up and down in the womb. And what they do is they take tweezers. Let me explain how it's done. They take tweezers. These are tweezers where you pluck your eyebrows. They take tweezers, but long tweezers, like that, and they put it up the vagina of the woman, and the camera's there. Through X-ray, you can see the baby's in the womb, and it's just moving like that. It's almost like it's floating around. And then the doctor puts this tweezer up the vagina of the woman, and the camera's there. We can see it now, and starts pulling the baby out. But because you can't stretch the tweezers so much, it starts pulling parts of the baby out. So as the tweezer goes up there, it pulls. You can see it grabs one of the legs of the baby, and it pulls it out, and you see that the leg rips off of the body, and just the leg comes out. So it disposes of the leg, puts the tweezer back up, and it grabs the other leg, and it tears the other leg off. And now the baby's in the womb, and it's fighting without any legs. Disposes of the second leg, sticks the tweezer back up, and just starts pulling, tearing parts of the baby off until the baby's fully out. And it just comes out just looking like just a cluster of blood, because it's just been torn apart. That's abortion. All right? The baby's in the womb at this time, and it's fighting. It's fighting. It's like you get your legs torn off, you're still fighting. Until you bleed to death, you'll be fighting. And so some people might say, they'll take it a step further and say, yeah, what about rape pregnancies? Listen, don't get me started on rape pregnancies. It would be foolish to take the tiny number, the tiny percentage of rape pregnancies and measure it up against the multitude, the millions of babies being killed due to irresponsible parents. This number, this percentage is just so tiny compared to the massive amounts of babies being killed due to irresponsibility, due to foolishness, due to convenience, due to selfish appetites, and so on and so forth. So I'll give you an example. Let's take the country I'm living in, for example, which is Cyprus. Rapes in Cyprus are roughly 1.7 cases per 100,000 population. 1.7 cases per 100,000 population. More than half, much more than half of those 1.7 cases do not conceive. More than half, which drops the number down to way less than 0.85 cases. Less than 0.85 cases per 100,000 population. And so it would be foolish for 8,500 abortions in Cyprus, which take place yearly. It's a smaller number compared to other countries, but I'm talking about Cyprus now. It is foolish for 8,500 abortions per year to take place in Cyprus due to be permitted to take place in Cyprus due to less than 0.85 cases. You can't take this 0.85 cases, which is a rape pregnancy, and legalize abortion because of this less than 0.85 cases, and permit abortion, thousands of abortions due to irresponsible sex, due to convenience, because of this 0.85 cases. We cannot solve the problem of injustice against women with more injustice. For those of you who say, yeah, but what about rape pregnancies? We can't solve the problem of injustice against women with more injustice. We need a solution that supports women without killing babies. Because permitting abortion because of a small number of rape pregnancies does not stop the abuse against women. It just adds more abuse on top, killing the babies. That's not the solution. We need a solution that protects the women without killing the babies. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Don't you think God knows it's a rape case? And God still permitted that life to be. How do you know the things that the world is dealing with now, with discrimination or with female things or rape and women abuse? How do you know the answer is not one of those rape babies waiting to be born? How do you know God's not bringing up that one baby, that one person, to solve an issue? God brought up Moses to solve a big issue. God, it was Jesus, it was Noah. Just one person solved these big issues, made these big changes. How do you know the things that you are praying for right now, God is waiting to bless you with? God is waiting to bring it to pass through one of those babies that are being aborted. You block your own blessing. Killing is not of God. God is of life. Killing is of the devil. The Bible tells us in John 10:10, Jesus said the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But I have come to give you life, and give you that life more abundantly. Murder, abortion is of the devil. It's not of God. God is of life. Whether it's through inconvenience, whether it's through rape, whether it's through whatever it is, God is about life. You say, what about my teenage daughter who's still in school and pregnant? Without suffering consequences, people will never change. People need to suffer consequences. That's where they learn. When your child does something wrong, why do you punish them? Because people learn through obedience. But when someone does something wrong, you keep brushing it under the carpet, keep brushing it under the carpet, keep brushing it under the carpet. People don't learn like that. Look at the state of the world. Is it getting better or worse? Thank you. What about my daughter in school? She's a teen and she's pregnant. Irresponsible parenting, first of all. If you are not responsible enough to bring up a baby, you are not responsible enough to be having sex. My books can be purchased below. Who is God? New Age to Jesus Christ. Donations to the ministry can be made below. If you need prayers, deliverance, or healing, message us on Facebook. Peace be with you. Amen.